Okay, recording on. Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this free webinar. For those of you who don't know me, somebody just wrote they found this 20 minutes ago only, and they're asking if we do this on a regular basis. Yes, we do. If you found this on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on some other website or so, you may want to check out my page on TradingView. I think most of the traders in here are from TradingView dominantly, but you can check me out on TradingView. You just type TradingView here, and you can find me right at the top here, right at the top there. You can click on my name and you can get to see all my charts that I've posted. 676 charts. You can go back, check the last 100 or 200 of them, and you're going to have an idea what I do, right? I know, thank you. There's a lot of thank you from there. That's okay. I know most of you guys are from TradingView, but there are some people who we've brought in from LinkedIn and from other places that are not from TradingView. Eventually, they may get to use TradingView, right? So you guys can go and check them out. Let's go. That is for those who don't know who I am and what I do. So let's go straight into the webinar. I like to go straight into things, and I want to start with this chart basically, right? Today I'll start with this chart, and then we will go to some big possible moves that are going to come for a longer term, and then we're going to go into shorter term charts, right? So I want to start with this chart because this chart was creating a lot of noise in TradingView when I posted it. This chart, I actually did this chart over 6 months ago. Literally over 6 months ago. It was just lying there, but I did a very similar version of this for those of you who are just joining us. I'll bring it up back over 2 years ago because nothing changed. Wave structure does not change regardless of whether they're going to be news event. People ask me daily, do you regard a news event? I said a news event is just a tiny spike within the bigger structure, right? So look, this was the forecasted move to happen then, because we looked at this structure and we said this structure should give us an ABC and it should come back to this level to retest that low. That was 2 years ago, right? We've done that today. We can say for sure today that that happened. So 2 years ago, I'm telling you this is what it's going to do. Now, if you were there 2 years ago, like the people who were there 2 years ago, they're going to say this guy is crazy because look what Peng was doing. Peng was going up very, very strong, right? That was a whole year of Peng going up. People would say, you got to be crazy. This thing is going to go to heaven. There's nowhere that is going to happen, because at that point when Peng was getting strong, euro was getting weak, the dollar was not so good, right? Everything was not so good. The Peng looked like it's going to be dominant. And guess what? That's exactly where we turn and start to come down. So what is everybody saying now about the Peng? Oh my God. This Peng is going to go to below something like 1-to-1, below parity. Some people are saying, oh, this is, it's the whole news is, okay, the exit, that's the end of the Peng. Well, that's not true. Actually, now is when you want to start looking for opportunities to buy Peng if you're a long-term trader. But none of us here are probably that long-term trader. We're short-term traders. If we were investors, if we were banks, we would be buying up Peng like crazy right now. Right? But we're not doing that. We're actually short-term traders. That does not mean you cannot catch more than 90% of this move going up on a daily basis. You don't have to buy it and keep it. But if you have a sense of the direction in which it's going to go, already can see that it has made a move like that previously. It has made move like that previously. It has made move like that previously. So this move is not surprising. That's not like, oh, how like one guy, well, that is impossible. Aren't you too optimistic? Please just look at the charts. That's easy. It's so easy. Just look at the charts. All you have to do is look at the charts. Don't just jump with crazy, comments on the chart. Just go and take the yearly chart, look at it and see, has this thing ever done that before? And if it has done that before, is it possible to repeat it? And the answer is yes. It can repeat it. I remember when I was telling, some of the guys who were with me then, right? At that time, I wasn't even on TradingView, and I wasn't training anybody that much. That this is going to happen. They were like, no, this low, I don't think the Peng is going to get that low. The longest period, somebody asked a question. Can you guys keep the question to the end? Because if we're going to take questions now, there are more than 200 plus people in the room, we would have problem, right? So no problem. I'll just answer your question. What's the longest? The longest I've kept a trade, I think, was silver. Kept it for 6 months. And everybody who knows me knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? Because we were just buying silver at the low. If I think more than 90% of you have seen those silver charts that I've said. Once it hit that low, buy silver, right? But I was in the buy for like 3 months. It was going nowhere. 3 to 4 months, it was going nowhere, just going sideways, literally. And then it took off. I closed all my silver trades for positive, absolutely, right? Although some of them were in drawdowns. There was never a chance. And we stay in trades much longer. I trade long term. 2 weeks, 3 weeks is normal. I'm very much normal, and especially if I get it, it's trending. If it's trending. So this move, if it's going to go up, you're going to have a lot of these pullback in a 240 and a daily, which means we can trade it up. Look at this thing, the speed with which that go up there, right? There was one huge pullback. Even if there are two huge pullback in this move, we will see it. We'll exit our trades. You will be trading daily in one direction. That's the whole point, right? So if it is going to happen, we should be involved in it. Let's go to the charts now. Take all of this out, and let's start with the dollar index. I'll just go through the major charts, tell you what I see. By the way, this one is amazing. We have been focusing this one in and out. If I go to the 2 days chart, you'll see all the charts we did in here. And the 2 days, and these were long-term trades, but you could have traded them. That's the point, right? The top to the bottom, and then when it hit the bottom, we forecast the bottom for the turn here, right? We forecast this three-wave pattern to happen. If you're in my daily room where I daily explain to my traders twice daily what I think is going to do, we were talking about this making a three-wave. I actually posted a chart to that extent that we were anticipating a three-wave correction in here. 1, 2, 3, and then up. So where would this go? Up, at least to this top. When it gets to that top, we would look at this structure to see how it's going. If it's very violent, if it's very aggressive, if it's an impulsive move, we would likely break out for an impulse to the top. And I have posted a chart to that extent saying that, you know, there is probably, I think on the monthly or in the weekly, the monthly, you're going to see a chart that says there is one more move up on this thing. I may not be able to find it, but this is a corrective structure we're in. This is a correction. So this will make one more move up. At least break these stops somewhere in here and then turn. And that turn could be huge because that turn is going to complete a huge impulse to the upside. So we could get a much deeper correction here. And this deeper correction is what I'm talking about when I expect Pong to start going up. Not now. Pong may have more downside. But once the dollar index starts that downside, we could see Pong go up, we could see Euro go up, and that means we should be ready to trade those big moves. You can trade right now, you can catch small moves, nobody say you shouldn't. But when you have a yearly trend, and that rarely happens, you can really double, triple, you can 5 times your account because you're in a trending mode that is going to go on for a year or two. And that rarely happens because the chart is most of the time in consolidation. Right? Especially if you look at the bigger charts, most of the time they are in consolidation. And when they take off with those big moves, if you are not in, you literally miss everything. I'm seriously, if you're not in it, you literally miss most of it because what happens is the moves gets very violent. They move pretty fast. Look at the euro. Let's go to the euro. I'll show you the euro when this thing was. Look at this move when they finish. You see that move when they start to come down? Look at the speed with which this thing went down. And if you weren't in that trade from the top, you likely missed all of this. Right? And you should have got all of that because if you understand what structure is going to do now, and you know there is a big move coming, and you can see that move happening in front of your eyes. You can see what you need to get into a buy or a sell. Right? And you got it, and it starts to go. And you know that there is a possibility for this thing to go much more. All you have to do is move your stops. Move your stops and stay in. Why worry? You're in the right side of the trade. The worst could happen is it come back and take you out. But for positive. That's the worst that could happen. And you will get to add much more trade to that if you just stay in the trade. So what do we think Euro is going to do in the short term? In the short term, I think Euro is going to probably consolidate here. And if we see this consolidation, we're looking for one more drop. We're looking for a drop to retest this low. I don't think that is the move that will be going down, right? This is a consolidation that will eventually go down. But I don't think this is the move that is going down. I think this move is temporary within a bigger A, B, C structure. So we will still come back to retest this top for a C wave before it goes down. So there is a possibility for one more up move, very small up move here. There are chances where the C wave, like this one, if this is the end of the C wave without breaking this top, that happens. That means this thing will continue to go down. Well, we are looking for a sell opportunity here now. And if we get that sell opportunity and it keeps going down, it will break this low and it will make one more impulse down before it starts a big move up. So dollar index, remember, has that move up. Like I said, it could either go up or it could come back. If this goes for one more up here, dollar index at the top will make a deeper pullback before it takes off. So we will watch two options. As this structure is coming down, we'll watch what it does when it gets to this low and when it gets to this low. If it still remains violent, we stay in the trade. You just move your stops and stay in the trade. Literally, you don't have to get out of the trade. Let the trade come back and take you out. Right? So that would be a good option to stay in. And if it comes back, take you out, we would look for one more move to the top here, break this top, and then this move becomes a much bigger move for you to get. See? This is how you look at structure. This is how structure behaves. And the reason we notice how it behaves is because we understand what type of patterns we're looking at, and we know how these patterns behave. Literally, they behave like that. That's the whole point. Right? So short term, we're looking for a sell setup here. Now, when I say sell, everybody freaks out. If this thing goes up a couple pips, yep, it will probably come back to this level. And then the sell will be triggered. Because you're always looking for a 1, 2, 3 wave structure here before that sell gets triggered. So there is a possibility euro is going to go up. This is a shorter term. This is like trade setup now, right? This is what we call trade setup. I'm looking for euro to go back here, retest this top, give me a flag here, and then we're looking for that sell. Right? So if we get that set up, we would look for a sell. I will be posting that on TradingView for you guys. So no need to rush into these little trades. We looked at them this morning and I told my traders, you probably don't want to get involved in it. We saw this little move coming down. I said, don't get involved in it. Actually, we may be even looking for a buy to the upside in the short term. This is extremely short term now. This is a 60-minute trade. If you get an impulse and you get a correction here, you could look for this trade to retest this top. So this would be a short trade, and then we look for the bigger trade down. And as this comes to retest the daily low, we'll see what happens there, whether it turns to the upside. And if this turns to the upside and break the weekly high, we're looking for a trade down again. See? Easy. It's that easy, guys. It's not that very hard to do, right? It's not complicated. It's once you learn this theory, once you learn the theory of how structure behaves, you will be amazed. I'm serious. Sometimes I myself am amazed when I look at some of the patterns I predict and they work out. You just can't help but being amazed that, oh wow, it actually did do exactly that. Right? You are anticipating that maybe it's going to make a little different pattern, and then you watch it do exactly the pattern you actually forecast. Right? Because when you're in corrected structures, the patterns do have a tendency to change. We're not going to go into that because that's complex. But basically, the general behavior is if you wait for the consolidation to finish and then you do the impulse, you'll be in a good trade. So catching 5 pips a day would not make your account grow. You catch 1 or 2 of those long trades and you will watch your account grow literally. I do these once. Somebody's asking a question how often I do this. I do this once in a week or once every 2 weeks for everybody it's open. But for my own traders, I do it twice daily. Those were my subscribers. Well, not subscribers. I don't have subscribers. Those were traders in my group, right? Okay, Victor's helping you out there with that. Let's go. Pang. Came down. No big deal. Nothing new. We knew that was going to happen. We look at the structure, the daily structure. And if you notice, I posted this 4-hour chart here. Somebody was asking, do you want to buy? And some crazy person came in and said, yep, I have the something, right? This is the chart before the big day, and there was a sell up third, right? So why did we know they're going to make a spike up and come? Because they have to complete this C wave, right? And to complete this C wave, they would likely spike it up some, right? That is to suck everybody into the buy, believing that it's going to go up, and they're going to drop it. And like I said, if you're not there, if I am not there, I would likely miss the move, which happened. Some of my traders in the Asian session, they made so well that they have planned to get together in Singapore and celebrate that for playing golf. right? Celebrate their wins because they did very well. They were there in the Asian session. I didn't know when it's going to happen, so I wasn't there. When I woke up the next day, I'm in Russia, so when I woke up, it's gone, right? It's literally gone. But that's okay. That's part of trading. I watched the 24-hour to see because we don't know when they were going to count. We don't know when the results were going to come. We don't know when the reaction was going to come. So just sit and stare at it for 24 hours. I don't think it's worth it, right? So that is the structure. And this is also based on structure, based on the fact that once we look at these structures, we can tell how they're going to behave. It's a behavioral pattern of the market. And regardless of what the news is, like I said to a lot of people, people ask me, what do you think is going to happen if they exit? I said, if they exit, it will fall. And they said, well, if they stay, it will fall. Literally, if they stayed, if they had voted to stay, the pound would have fallen, right? You still would have got the pound falling. And the gurus who were fundamentalists would say, well, it's falling because they stayed and because Europe is in such a mess now, they're going to be in the mess. So because of all that mess, they're falling. It doesn't matter what they do. The pound was going to fall. It's that simple. And this is not I'm saying it hindsight. I posted the chart and tell you way before it is going to fall. I clearly mentioned that I'm expecting a little spike up and then this thing is going to fall. A C wave is coming. It's not if, it's when. It's coming. I was hoping that it would be slower. Honestly, on my own personal side, I thought that they would probably stay in. That's just my own personal belief. They'll probably stay in. We will see the C wave make a move up here. And then this one will probably go down technically to the downside. So we will have enough time to make money here. Wouldn't happen my way, right? They didn't do it my way. They do it their own way. And they just drop it very fast. But that down move was going to happen. There was no question about it. Absolutely none. It was going to happen. Because that is what the structure should do before it changes direction. They have to retest that low, break that low, and then go back up. Don't ask me why here. I wouldn't explain why here, but that's something we do when we teach wave theory. That's something I explain to my traders when I teach it, how it behaves, how patterns behave generally. So what we were expecting, this has some more downside, definitely. There was a short trade here this morning. I told my traders, if you want to take it, get it to break even pretty fast, because as soon as they break this low, they're going to go back up. This pattern here is going to break to the upside. So for those of you who would be looking at the trade late New York session, early tomorrow or so, I would be there for the London session. Hopefully by then I get a setup to buy, because they'll be coming to retest this top, and then we will see how far they go. Right? This is not the change of direction. I don't think this is the change of direction as yet, but this is going to give you a pullback before they keep going down some more, right? So I think some more downside, at least one more downside is possible within this structure. But first, they're going to bring this back up to the top here, somewhere around here. I don't know how it's going to go slowly or fast, but I hope it goes slow, because if it goes slow, that will give all of us here a chance to enter the trade, right? We'll have a better chance to get in the trade and stay with the trade and then watch it come back and then go up. So I think there is one more probably, maybe not as fast, not such a fast move, not such an aggressive move, much slower to the downside and then go back up. So what we'll be looking for here tomorrow, the day after, is a buy setup in the pound, right? Aussie on the other hand, I think we will be looking for a very short-term comeback to this top here and then a drop. Aussie, we'll be looking for a very fast drop. I don't know what's going to cause that. What news event? Because I don't like to forecast news event, right? I don't know what is going to happen in Australia or where else in the world or in the US dollar where, but I'm telling you that that possibility is there. And the reason we look at that possibility, if you remember, I posted this chart here that it's probably over, right? Because we were seeing this structure, looks like it's starting to die out here. This structure looked like it started to die, but we never got the trigger. They never break. They just keep climbing. If you notice, just click in the chart, they just climb, right? And that's okay. They climb, and then they drop it. Which is good, right? Basically, no problem. You're not in a trade. So now we're looking for a trade setup somewhere in here for this down move. This down move will happen. There's a 90% chance it will happen. So here's the deal. If you forecast it to happen and it starts to happen and it gives you a sell setup, what should you do? Take the trade. That's what we do. We forecast, we wait for our setups, and if the setups are there, we take the trade. If there is no setup, if the forecast says downside and there isn't a setup, we don't get in the trade. Sometimes it still goes, right? It goes, and it goes without me because I didn't have a setup to trade it. My rule says you don't have a setup to trade it, so I can't just jump in the moving candle, right? I traded rules. And sometimes you get the setup and you're not there. It happens in Asian session. And you wake up and half of the trade is gone. You can't jump in because the risk to reward is no longer good. Most of the times we're lucky and we're there, and it happens in the good sessions, and we get them either the London or the US sessions, and we're there and we get the trade. If these are trades you can put entry order in, we do put entry order in. Right? We have traders who like to use entry orders, as a matter of fact. I know Benny's in the room, right? He loves to use those entry orders, right? So let's see how this behaves. I think we're going to break this structure here. I think we're going to go down for one more of this low and one more retest of the daily low. One more retest of this daily low. I posted this chart way back. I think I posted this chart from the top here, showing you what we think the weekly structure would look like and how it's going to behave, right? So we said, watch it. It's going to die out at the top here. Somewhere here it's going to die out, and then you're going to get a big move to the low here. They're going to retest this low, that's for sure, right? So what did it do? Went up, drop. Now they're consolidating here. They drop. That's the first drop. After the first drop, you get a consolidation. You get a consolidation, and then you get continuation. So we're looking for continuation. Maybe it's about this level. So there is a trade coming there. And if we get in this trade, we could probably stay in for a longer time, right? So let's see. There was a trade set up here, but that didn't go very far. And like I said, if you didn't get those small ones, watch for a bigger move to come back. So this is your big consolidation. And if they break this structure to go, which means if we get our consolidation here and a break of the structure, we should be in the trade, right? I'll try to see if I can post the setup for everybody. But as you know, I can't post all of them, and I can't be there with you when the trade is triggering. That is why my traders get them, right? Because they have different views about. So watch this to probably come back maybe a little more here, go back to the top, retest this top here, and then we would be looking for this trade down. So we'll try to get in somewhere along this line here for the downside. Let's see if that happens, right? New Zealand, I've been looking for this down trade for a very, very long time. We've been waiting for that for a very, very, very long time, right? It just wouldn't go. If you look at a bigger structure, you will see why. By the way, I post a chart when I forecast this down move from the top here, coming down here. That's one of the other big move we forecast. And the reason we forecast that one was this corrective structure was actually completing itself. I think we can find that one also. Let me see if I can bring that one up. It shouldn't be here. It should be. Let me close this one. I think I'll bring that one up. I have it definitely. It's right in here. Bring this up. Okay, let me open it in the other screen so we don't mess with this screen, right? And where's my trading view? We can do it right here. Sorry, 1 second. Go to trading view. Go to the big picture chart, and then we'll find it. Big picture, this one, and I posted it somewhere here. Somebody was asking questions about whether these big moves could happen, so I gave them a couple to look at. Look, I think this one is the New Zealand one. Let's see. Yep, direct from the top there, coming all the way to here. That was because this structure was completing itself. Once that completed itself, they were going to come back to make this move with the low here. And if you look at the charts, that's exactly what they did. They completed that structure and then they drop it. So what are they doing right now? I think you can all see this has at least one more move down. Retest this low. And then we will see whether they break or whether they bounce. Because if they bounce, we are coming back for a big move to the upside. Right? And that is very possible. I think they may break this structure slightly. I don't want to go into the details of that, but I think this structure may get broken, this trend line. Based on our analysis that we're looking, they will likely break this trend line first before they go back up. The next move up, what we are forecasting now is breaking this trend line, and the next move up is going to be a slow move, not breaking this stop. Some kind of a three-wave pattern like this. 1, 2, 3. That is the forecast we are looking at right now, right? We're just waiting for it to confirm itself when this move goes down, break this structure. If that confirms the break, we'll be looking for a different structure to the upside. So daily, what is this doing? It's doing very well. We got a trend there and we have a second trend here. Let's go. Take this out. This has little value now. So there is a chance this is going to come here. We're looking for this trade here now. Look for this trade. And if it goes very fast, keep the trade. Once it breaks the structure, you stay in that trade. If it bounces somewhere, if it's coming slowly and it bounces somewhere here, you move your stop, let it take you out. And we look for one more retest of the top before it falls. Now, what is going to happen to give you this trade? I don't know. But something will happen, right? I'm not a fortune teller, but I can tell you what the structure will do. So I don't know what is going to happen in New Zealand, but that is going to happen. It will go down one. So the trade you're looking for now, the shorter term trade you're looking for, is a sell setup. Let's see if we have anything ready to go. Not as yet. There was a short trade, 5-minute trade. I actually took the 5-minute trade. One guy was making noise about it, and I actually took that 5-minute trade just to prove something, and I closed it for a couple $100 this morning. I think it was somewhere around $800. I closed it when I saw they gapped because I knew they were going to fill the gap. I closed it right here, somewhere a little later, somewhere here when I saw them gapped. I closed it and I just went to sleep. Now that opened 12 my time. Went to sleep and just watch all of this happen, right? So what we're looking for, I think the possibility is they're trying to go back to test this stop here, something like a 1, 2, 3 wave structure, and we will get a sell setup. So we're looking for a sell setup back to the low. Remember, back to the trend line, right? By the way, one very smart fellow came on and said, oh, I took your 5-minute trade, it's not working. Crazy guy. So let's watch it. If you're in the trade, you should get out because this is going to go back up, right? And then we will see what happens. We'll be looking for a bigger trade to the downside. So a short trade to the upside if you want. I don't like to give 5-minute trades. I'll be honest with you. I don't like to give them and I don't like to take them. It's a 15-minute trade. You may get a trade to the upside if you have a setup to trade it, if you know what you're doing in a 15-minute. If you don't, leave it alone and look for the sell setup, right? Because these are aggressive moves. And if you don't know how to trade them, you can really get yourself in trouble. Right? You may just get a very sharp move up here and come back down, and you may just take a loss rather than a win. So if you're not sure how to trade those, be careful. It may not even go anywhere. Right? You ever watch it do this and then do this and then do this and then drop, and you're still hoping it's going to go there? That's because you're not sure what structure does. We know what structure do. We analyze it. We look at how structure develops. So even if I'm in the trade, I could decide, okay, I'll get out of this trade because structure is not going the way I expect it to go. We're in a consolidation. Right? So I think the trade you guys should be focused on is the 1-hour and 4-hour trade, which is the trade to the downside. That is for those who you're not, not very versed in. You can do it 2 ways. Wait for it to come back here, pull a trend line, and then take the breakout. This would be a wonderful trade. Don't try to pick the top. Take the breakout. What are the trades we were looking for? I'll go through all the majors and then I'll show you guys a few very, very, very nice trades that has very long-term potentials in them, right? So let's finish the majors first. Let's go back. Swiss long-term upside, short-term upside. Long-term, we're in this structure here. If you look at this structure, right? And I think this structure would eventually break to the upside here. And we know dollar index does have one more move to the upside, right? So that's dollar strength, Swiss weakness, right? So what we'll be looking for is whether this move here now goes. This move has a piece to the top there. And it either could come back here for one more, that possibility exists, then go up, or it's going to break out here. So if the euro is going to go back up for one more, we anticipate this should probably come back down here for one more, and then this move starts. So we'll watch for this move here, or we'll watch for a breakout. Either way, there will be good trading, right? That's a possibility. Short term, if you want, there's a nice small trade setup that is happening right now, I think, 1 hour. Getting back to the top of that line. And as you can see, we already anticipated that breakout. We got a consolidation. Let them come back here. Same thing, they're going to come back here probably in consolidation. And then you're going to take this breakout here. That's your trade. Right? That is a trade you'll be looking for. If it goes very aggressive and break out, you keep it, you move your stop and leave the trade to take you out. If it goes very slowly like this, you'll just probably take it off at the top because it's not going to go. It just depends on how the trade is moving, right? How the structure is moving. US CAD. We'll look at all of those just now. We're not doing charts on demand because we have over 244 traders in the room. That's 244 charts if I start doing that. One second, guys. Let me just cancel this. I'll call the person back and tell them. Sorry. Yep, let's go. So we're in this structure here. Let me just pull this across here. Look at this. Okay. This will be annoying. If I cut it off again, they'll probably call back. So give me 1 second. Let me just tell them I'm busy. Sorry about that. I just have to let them know because they'll be calling forever. Let's go. Yep. This one, look for this. There may be a short-term trade. I don't like them, but wait for this to come here. And if we do that, you can see that we're going to get a very nice trade to the upside, right? So you can wait for the breakout, or if you're good at picking, bottoms, which I don't think you should do. Wait for the breakout, and it's a nice trade from this point all the way to the top. Where is the top of that one for our CAD? Oh, the CAD is actually going to come retest this level. Look at this level here, and then this level. Watch for this trade here, because we're making a 1, 2, 3 wave structure before CAD goes down. All right, CAD is actually in a downtrend in the daily, just so that you know. We're in a downtrend in the daily. See this? We're in a downtrend. We're making corrective structures here. And we're anticipating, minimum we're anticipating is a 3 wave structure. It could be much longer than that, right? We're anticipating minimum 1 here before they go, but they could actually make it much longer. Come back here, go back there, come back here, go back there, and then go down. So I don't think the downside is going to be so fast. We may be in a big sideways move here, but you can trade it, right? This is a daily chart, which means you can trade it both up and down. We're trying to get the upside, and then we'll be looking for the downside back to this trend here, right? Back to this trend line, and then we'll see where that structure goes. It breaks out, or it still stays in there, right? Michael, please. Michael is asking for silver. Let's go. Michael is my trader. He knows what I mean by that. Go. Okay, let's go here. Look for this one here. Right? Check for that. That's a nice short-term trade you could get. You can see the flag here. Let's get a nice short-term trade to the top here, and then we will see where this goes. Long-term, this is an interesting chart. You guys should pay attention to this. Long-term, I think this thing has a very big move to the upside. Let me bring it back in the monthly so you can see. I want to show you the monthly structure of this. If you have the monthly structure, this one was coming all the way from the top here, right? I think we can find it in the IDC. Somebody was asking why you use the IDC. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I forgot to click IDC. USD, SD, JPY, and let's choose the IDC. Yeah. We just have more charts on them. That is why. Right? There's more chart patterns here that you can look at. That's the only reason why we. So as you can see, this was a very huge move down. They made a move up and they made a corrective move down. So I'm looking at all of this here as a huge flat pattern, a huge sideways pattern. Right? I think all of you know what that is. So it's not like magic. It's simple to you, right? So if we made a move up and we made a move down, there's a likelihood we're going to make a move up again. So I'm looking at this as a possible 3 or 5 wave structure going up, right? Yep, I'm looking at this as a possible 1, 2, 3, or 4, and 5 wave structure coming back to retest this top. So can you guys keep your questions to the end, because I wouldn't be looking at them anyway. So you'll have to still read that. So I think this move here at some point will start to go back up. Now remember, if they make consolidations like this in here before they come, right? This was a sideways move. likely also do that here, come back here, and then go, right? Which means we'll get a three-wave sideways movement in here. But you can trade those sideways movement because they're pretty huge. I'm on a monthly chart. So what I'm looking for is at some point, this here starts to go back up. And the move to the upside is going to be pretty huge, right? So watch for this structure here. This one is going sideways. You may get one more retest of the low, and then we're going to go. So before we get a retest of the low in the lower time frame, we're going to get one up move. Put it in a 4 hour, put it in a 1 hour, you can see that. Before they go back to retest the low, this one is telling us you're going to get a short wave up. So there's a nice short trade here. If it comes back all the way to the top, better for you. If it stops somewhere here, you will get taken out of the trade here, and then you would start to look for that trade to the downside. Right? So once you have a strategy to trade these, I'm just showing you an indication as to how it's going to behave and where it's going. So if you have a strategy to trade, that would be great for you. Right? So I think we've completed all the majors. CAD yen, yep. So I want to show you two more charts that I think have very, very big moves to come. And then we will pick one or two more charts that, you know, may be interested to everybody and look at them. So two of them, and they're based on the New Zealand. They have the new, I think the New Zealand will be the moving factor in them. So let's go back to the New Zealand monthly chart. And remember we said this move here may have a big move dropping this to the downside and probably breaking this structure. And this one may be the fastest moving chart to the downside when the down move actually starts. If you look at the Euro New Zealand, you're going to expect the opposite of that to happen. And that's exactly what I'm expecting to happen. On this big chart, you can see we broke this structure. We made a sharp impulse up. Let me use a different color, probably yellow. We made a sharp impulse up. We made a three-wave structure down, and we are looking for one more of this impulse up, which means if New Zealand break through, this is going to happen. Right? If New Zealand break to the downside. Why we think that is going to happen? We are completing a three-wave structure here. Pretty much completing a three-wave structure. And this may have some more downside. Right? So somebody say, why not sell it? Well, I don't have a setup to sell it. The fact that I know it may go there doesn't allow me to just jump in the trade crazily. Because if you sell it right here just like that without a setup, you'll have to put a stop here. And this is your target. And that's no good of a risk to reward trade. Right? But those are people who just feel they want to say something. Basically, what we are looking for is in a 4 hour to see what setup we have. And in a 4 hour, if you can see, there may be, if it comes back up, I think there may be a short one here if you look at this. Right, there was one this morning, a very short one here this morning. That didn't work well. I think this may be a trade setup, but it will have to really break, consolidate here before I get into that trade. Right? If I don't see a consolidation here, I'm not getting into that trade. I think this trade has possibilities to go back up here, retest these stops before they go down. If they do that, well, then I will get a setup to sell, which means if it goes back up, then I'll be looking for the sell opportunity to the downside. But the bigger trade that I'm looking for is when it breaks this structure, right? When it breaks this structure, then we start to look for buy setups. Then we will start to look for buy setups. We're not going to be jumping into the chart because it has some potential. You know why most traders lose their account? I'll show you. Just let me finish these two charts. I'll show you the trick of why most traders, even though sometimes they get it right, they still lose their account. And I'll show you why. There's a reason why I don't use a lot of those technical stuff. I wait for confirmation. You'll always hear me say, wait for the confirmation before you get in the trade. Right? So let's go. Aussie, New Zealand. This one we have been waiting for a very long time. I mean, a really, really long time because we traded this up. We literally traded this up all the way to this top here. We traded that up. Some of my traders were in even while it was doing this, and then eventually they just got out, right? And then we were waiting for this to go up. That gave us a small trade. We're waiting for this to go up. This gave us a small trade, right? Well, now we figure out that they made a much bigger consolidation, a 1, 2, 3 wave. Finish this move here, and we are in that trade going up. Once they break this structure, we will be in there. We understand structure. We know how to get in. We know where we'll have our stops, and we know where our targets are. Very much targets are very, very great in these trades. Now, there's a potential that it could break out, right? It may break out. It may still come back for one more leg before it breaks. But very likely this one is going to break out. So we will keep an eye on it and see if this goes. If this goes and it comes to the top here very strong like this, we're going to keep it all the way to the 618 for one more big move. We may add trades to it all the way to the top there. So we will see when it comes. These two charts are showing us great potentials. That is why I want to focus on these two for you guys. There are going to be more. We're going to put them on. Somebody wanted to see the pound New Zealand. Let's see what the pound New Zealand is doing. Somebody just wrote me, please look at the pound New Zealand. We got a lot of requests for gold, for silver, for Aussie yen. We can't do all of that now, but we'll try to see if we can do it. Pound New Zealand has come pretty much to the downside. That thing fall, and they made a fall there again. And if you notice, this is kind of in a down pattern. It's mostly because of the pound, not so much because of the New Zealand. This one is going down, right? We haven't broken this low. So there are two things we're looking for right now. If they pull back and consolidate here again like they did on that previous move here, we would look for a sell to break the low. If they don't do that, but instead they reversed, and that is a possibility, right? There is a possibility this could reverse back up to the top there, make a consolidation, and then starting to do this. Either way, that would be a good trade. So you should notice this one break, this one broke. Now we're waiting to see what they do. If they consolidate like this here, we will sell. If they consolidate like this one, you saw those cells set up there? There was sell set up in here, there was sell set up in here, and this one we never took the sell set up because that one was a breakout. So we thought this one was going to go up. So we didn't get the sell set up there. This one we were looking for the sell set up, but I'm not sure any one of us got it because the same thing happened. It went pretty fast, and you ought to have been there, right? Right, we were looking for a sell setup, and that one just didn't work out well. This one was like that. Right, it just started to go sideways, waiting for them to go back up, and then they drop it. Actually, more like this, right? Waiting for them to go back up, and they drop it. So that's not something. And now we wait to see if they give us this. And if you get that, you take a sell. Simple. By the way, a little warning. When I came to TradingView my first time 1 year ago, about a couple months ago, I used to see a lot of advanced patterns. All the charts were advanced patterns. Now I'm looking at the chart and I can see all of them are based in wave patterns. That's great. I like the fact that people have started to learn to trade and they're doing it right. They're trying to get it the right way, and so which is amazing. But I do look at some of those charts, and it's not only about the lines. I keep warning. It's not lines on the chart. We're not just putting lines in chart. These lines have little significance. It is about the structure that we are looking at. The lines are determined by the structure. It's not the structure is determined by the lines. So you don't just put the line and say, well, wait for it to bounce off this line or wait for it to break this line. Because you will get a lot of lines that are incorrect. And that's true with a lot of those charts. So just a warning. Not because you put a line in the chart. Just remember, it's more. You can take out all these lines and still trade it. You can take all these lines off, and I can still trade that chart. Right? The whole purpose of the whole purpose of it for those lines is just to help me understand what pattern I'm looking at. It has nothing to do with exactly, what it's going to do. People, I put a line and say, well, sell the breakout, and everybody said, well, there was a candle that came out, I should sell. I said, no, you're not supposed to be in the sell. I didn't say sell the candle that came out. It's based on structure. But if that was your strategy, sell the candle that came out, well, then you made a right trade. It's just that you haven't tested your strategy properly. So you need to make sure if you're going to follow a strategy, you're testing it to make sure it works well for you. Right? So I promise you guys I'll show you a little trick as to why most of those trades. You see, people use what? What are some of the main way of analyzing charts that people use? And the reason most people don't get it right anywhere, because not they don't know where it's going to go. but because they use things that are killing you in the market. One is support and resistance. It doesn't work. The bankers and brokers and everybody knows about that. And they don't have to know about support and resistance. They know where most traders, they will see where most traders gather their stop losses. And most of the stop losses are gathers where there's support or resistance or some kind of an advanced pattern that shows that, or some kind of a pin bar or something like that. Right? Most traders who trade those techniques tend to gather their stop. Their stop should not be there. Their stop should be way above structure. Because when they break structure, they change direction. When they don't break structure, they will have a continuation pattern. And that means if you're above structure, and I mean structure, I don't mean a wick or a candle or so. If you're above the structure itself, they can only take you out if they change the direction of the structure. That's it. It's that simple. So if you put a support and resistance, if you're following some pin bar or something to trade, you're unlikely. Here's what people who trade pin bars don't tell you. How many pin bars goes nowhere? And you can take a chart and you can pull it back as far back as you want. I've shown this already to many people. And if you check every one of those pin bars you had before, that was going to show you a good trade to the downside, they end up going back up. If you check every single one of them, they end up going back up. If you check every single one of them, they went down. Every single one, not just the ones you selected. You will see that 90% of them will not work. And actually, you were thinking that those were, if you were looking at this pin bar here, you were thinking, wow, that's my sell here with my stop here and my target is somewhere here. So let's go see what happens. See what happened? You lost that trade. And you were in a downtrend. You were literally in a downtrend. So that was a perfect sell setup on a pin bar, right? The reversal. Well, that's not perfect. That's imperfect. And you know why that is imperfect? Because you're trading the design of the chart. And you want me to show you why I said you're trading the design of the chart? Look what you do. And your pin bar is no longer valid. You change the design and your pin bar is no longer valid. Don't trade the design, trade the structure. So if you're a structure trader, this is what you would do. And you would care less if there was a pin bar there or not. You would sell that breakout. You would sell this breakout, and you would care less if there's a pin bar there. You will sell this breakout. You will sell that breakout, and you would care less if there was a pin bar there or not. If the candle was red, blue, green, pink, or yellow, it doesn't make a difference. You're not trading the design of the chart. You're trading the structure of the chart. You're trying to understand what the structure is telling you is going to do. So if you follow people who trade pin bar, you're going to lose your account. I don't know how long all of you have been in TradingView, but we have had experience with a pin bar trader that's no longer even there, right? I think you all know what I meant. You don't have to call anybody's name in here, right? But you all know what I mean. Pin bar is not a trading strategy. It's a design strategy. You're trading the design chart, and that's it. You shouldn't do that. If your strategy is based on the color of the candle or the design of the chart, you are trading the wrong thing. You have no clue what you're doing. Anybody who trades pin bar has no clue what they're doing. I'll repeat it and I'll defend it. They have no clue what they're doing. And they will lead you into trouble if you follow them. And if you're doing it, you should stop doing it. Because you don't know what you're doing. Right? Pin bars are design. It's a design. You don't trade the design, right? You don't tell the guy, okay, let me do. I get very emotional about these things sometimes because I am very passionate about trading. And when I see simple things, very simple things go wrong, and I say, guy, it's simple. Just change the design and you will see that what you're trading disappeared. When I talk about wave structure, you can see them here. You put whatever design you want, and you will still see wave structure. Want to change the design for wave structure? Renko bars. We have to go to. You still see structure? Can you still see structure? I'm pretty sure you can, right? You can still see. Excuse me. You can still see structure. It doesn't matter what design you use. The structure does not change, right? So you should change. You should trade what you see in terms of structure, right? In terms of the structure of the chart and not the design. See? Worse yet, these pin bars depends on what time the candle is actually open. And if you use different brokers, those 4-hour candles open at different times. The only one that is the same is the hourly candle. The 4-hour candles open different times. So in one broker you have a pin bar, and the other broker you have a full candle. Right? So avoid doing that. Support and resistance, I've shown this many times, but I'll show you guys again why it's nonsense. I'm not even looking at the chart. I'll just put this and I'll show you how perfect they are. Let me put a couple more for you and show you. These are going to be perfect support and resistance area. Very perfect. When I tell you perfect, I mean they're going to bounce off those lines like there's no tomorrow. Let's go. Look at that one. To the pin. Look at that. To the tip. You see that? To the pip, they bounced off of it. Perfect support, right? Nonsense. Let's go back to where the chart is. Okay, I choose no chart is, right? I need to put them higher. Let's go back. We can go back. Let's go. Let me do it where the charts are, because the charts are not there. So I'll do it higher so you can see how perfect it works. Let's go back all the way. I just need to put it where the charts. I don't need to see where I'm putting them. I just need to put them where charts are. Come on. Give the chart a couple of minutes to come back to itself. It's stuck. Let's use a different chart. That one is no longer. Okay, my chart is stuck. I'll just refresh it. Give me a second. Okay, take everything out of this chart. Come on. Yep. Pull the chart back. I don't want to see where I'm putting lines. And you will see how perfect these lines are. You don't even have to search for them. Don't let anybody tell you nonsense. Where you want to put one? Put one at the top here. Let's go see. Let me show you how perfect these lines are. Look how perfect they are. Look how perfect they are. See that? See the turning points? This is what they show you. See that thing in there? See that mess across there? That's what they show you. In reality, that has nothing to do with anything. All of this has nothing to do with anything. See how perfect they found it? Let's go. Look at this one here. Perfect, right? Perfect. It has nothing to do with anything in what the charts are doing. You can go back and you will see the same thing here. Look at this. Perfect area, right? It's a nice area. Look at that area. Look at this area. Look at that area, right? This is what they show you. Look at that there. What that has to do with that? What that has to do with what you're going to be trading? It has nothing to do with what you're going to trade. It's not a trading strategy. It's just some horizontal line. If you have this thing going up here and you draw 10 lines in here, 3 things are going to happen. One is they're going to go straight through the line. 2 is they're going to stop on the line, pull back, and then go. 3 is they're going to go above the line, pull back, and then go. Those are the 3 things that could happen, right? Any of those 3 could happen at any random pattern. Right? And they could happen randomly. And then look at this. Look how perfect they've been using these 2 lines. Up, down, up, down. Go back, up, up, down. Does that mean anything? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I didn't even know I was putting the lines there. And if you could randomly put something on a chart and it works, you want to think twice if you want to trade that. I mean, seriously, if you can randomly put a line on the chart and it's that good, you want to think twice whether that's a good trading strategy. You better think twice if that's a good trading strategy, right? It's not a good trading strategy. This is how charts move. Let me show you how they move, and you can look at it and you will see it again. They move in waves. They make a very sharp move, a very sharp move. Wait, let me get this on a 4 hours, so it's going to be much more easy for you guys to see. And we'll have more charts. This is how they will always move on all time frame. When you're trending down, you're going to have sharp moves and you're going to have consolidations. You're going to have sharp move and you're going to have patterns. You're going to have sharp move. Even within these moves, you can see the consolidation. You have a sharp move. This was a pattern to buy into. This was a consolidation. This was then you make a deeper consolidation, another consolidation, and then they move away from those consolidations. Now you can see that on all time frame, and that is not accidental. You cannot put that accidentally in the chart. You have to understand how those things work, right? And that is why I'm telling you, look at this one here. See that? It's not a support, it's not a resistance. There is nothing like support and resistance. This is data. You're plotting data on a piece of paper, in a chart, or whatever you want to call it. You're plotting data. It has no support and resistance in it. So if you're looking for support and resistance, you will find it. If especially if you can fantasize a lot, you will find much more than that. but it doesn't work. You're in a consolidation. You're in a zone where they're actually making transactions, and then they will move away from this zone, either that way or either this way. And when they move away from the zone, you want to be in the trade. Now, to understand which direction they're going to move away from that zone, that is what is called wave theory. That is what we study as wave theory. To tell you how to understand these patterns, how to know what type of patterns is going to go which way, how to trade them. That's what it is. It's simple. We look at the patterns that repeats themselves over and over and over. And we said there's a high probability that this pattern is going to behave this way. And if it starts to behave that way, you should be in the trade. It is that simple. It's nothing complex. It's not based on any fancy stuff. It's based on the simple stuff. What causes these patterns? Well, one guy said, well, they're making an ABC. No, they're not making an ABC. It's the behavioral pattern of the market that is creating these patterns, right? So let me show you how simple it is. If you plot your life on a chart, what time you wake up, what time you do your toiletries, what time you leave house, what time you go to work, what time you leave work, what time you go for dinner, what time you do this, and you do that for a year or for a couple of months, and you give it to somebody and they study it, and you ask them, can you tell me what time I'll be in this bus trap passing this building? And they will tell you with a 90% accuracy what time you're going to pass that building. And you know why? Your life has a pattern, and you repeat that pattern daily. Now, if you were working in a bank and the bank repeats its work daily, the bank does a certain amount of work daily, and a number of banks does the same thing daily, weekly, monthly, and an entire country, an entire period does the same thing daily. They wake up at different times, they do the same thing. They will create patterns. If they want to buy, they start to create a pattern. If they want to sell, they create. If they're out of the market, you can see it in the charts. You look at the charts, the chart is telling you what the market is doing right now. All you have to do is to learn to read it correctly. And if you can learn to read what the market is doing right now, you can forecast what the market will do. And you're going to be accurate with 80 to 90%. That's your accuracy rate, 80 to 90%. And that is what we do. That is how simple it is. See, that's how simple it is. It's not complicated. So let's go take some questions now. Let's see. You guys post your questions. Let me see. I'll run through pretty fast. Let me go. I found that one. Great, but then ready to fill the gap. I don't know. That's not an important question right now. We'll do that pancake in our webinar. You're my trader, by the way. I like the big charts. Okay. Good. What is the next one? I know we're good. Next one. A lot of thank you. Let's ignore the thank yous and all of that. Thank you for saying thank you, but let's move on with it. Just curious, what's the longest? I answered that question already. And then, do you do sessions weekly, daily? I answered that already. Somebody wants to see silver, gold. We'll see if we have time. We'll do that. Skip all of those. Let me go down. Yen, please. Aussie yen, we look at that later too. Also, Pound New Zealand, we looked at that one. Could you please check your again? No, we don't have the time for that. Also, oil play. A lot of charts we were asking for. We don't have the time for all of that, guys. Sell setup are okay to understand, but targets not that easy. Ricardo, you'll figure out targets once you figure out the strategy how to trade. What signal do you look for when you look for a buy or sell? We don't look for a signal as such. We look for a setup, and that's based on structure. So if you want to learn that, you have to learn how to use structure, how to understand structure, so you can figure out whether you have a buy or a sell setup. Do you have any full-time course? Yes, I have a full-time course. That's a question from Craig, so that everybody doesn't have to look. Craig, if you want to know more about the course, and anybody who wants to know about the course, let's make it short. Skype me. My Skype ID is MANGAL Mangle457. Anybody who wants to know anything about the course, just Skype me and I'll give you all the details. Let's move on. While you're writing, let's move on. The next question is, do you have it? Thank you for the pin bars. Reality, you're right. The broker learned my only pin bars and lost. Oh, you lost what? 15,000. Oh, am I sure I'm seeing the right sum you wrote? Is that 15,000? Is that? It looks like 1.5 million. I don't think that's enough. I think you want to write a different sum, but somebody wrote 1.5 million. I think they were trying to write $15,000. They lost trading pin bars, right? Lucas, did I get that sum right? I'm not sure it's that much, but I probably think you meant 15,000. The 2 zeros, there's not no dot between the 2 zeros. That is why. Hey, Anil, if you don't get time webinar, can you update your views on Nifty? No, I'll update that in the chart only. Gold again, Pong Yen, Aussie Yen. Can you please give Pong Yen, Aussie Yen, ABC patterns? I know that gold again. Everybody wants to see gold. Another person asking for gold. Another person asking. Okay, I'll probably look at the gold charts because I see like about 20 people asking for gold. So we'll look at the gold charts and then we'll call it a day. Most of the examples you post are corrective patterns. Would you be posting impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 patterns? 2 for trading view. Why would you want to post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern and you're not looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern? I don't see the necessity for that. You're looking for a trade for the next impulse. That's the basic thing. Do you take into account correlation analysis to disregard unlike scenarios? No, there's nothing like correlation in the market. That's my view. That's my personal view, and I can defend it. And I can really defend it if anybody wants to, but we'll do that the next time. And here's how simple it is. Especially in Forex market, there's no correlation. Every country stands its own, right? So what we just saw was the pound fell very, very strong. That is because of what happened in Britain. The other currencies came down some, but not that much. The Aussie didn't fall that much. The New Zealand didn't fall that much, right? Now, if there were correlation in the pound fall, everything should be falling, right, in relationship to the dollar. And that doesn't happen so because each country stands alone. Right? If something is happening in Australia, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in New Zealand. So there's no correlation between the two. It simply doesn't happen, right? How to learn recognize pattern? You can take my course. That's the fastest way to do it. Or you can learn on your own like I did, which will take you a couple of years. What is your definition? To get the course, I just put the Skype up. You can get it. What is your definition of market structure based on monthly and weekly chart? I'm not sure what you meant by that question. My definition of market structure? Market structure is what the market is doing, right? The structure it creates while it's doing what it's doing. Whether it's a monthly, weekly, daily, 2, 4 to 6 to 1 minute, 5 minute charts. You want me to show you 15-minute chart structures? Right? The structure doesn't change because you change the time frame, right? See that? That's a 15-minute chart. There's no change in the structure, and the structure does not change because you change the time frame. All you're seeing is a lower degree structure. You're seeing smaller structures. Right? See this? Impulse, correction, impulse again. All you're seeing is smaller structures. Structures you're not supposed to be trading because they're, they would just make you lose your account. But the time frame has nothing to do with that. It's called the fractal nature of the market, where every part looks like a similar part on a bigger time frame. Somebody asking for another forecast of, no, we can't do that. Daniel, please post recording of, I will post it in YouTube. Somebody's asking for that as well. If dollar and euro expert to go down on a longer term, is opening a trading account in Swiss a better idea? No, I don't think you have it wrong. I didn't say dollar and euro is expecting to go down. I said dollar is going to go up, euro will go down. That is how it should be. Euro dollar if you're trading. Swiss will go up because Swiss follows the dollar. That's weakness in the Swiss. And but it's long-term trade. The short-term is, I showed you all the options on them, long and short-term, right? When you do have a breakout from your lines that are posted, I know you're that's my strategy. I can't give that away. What do I do then, right? That's a strategy. It's reserved for my trading room only, right? So I can't give you the strategy how we trade it. You'll have to figure out the strategy on your own to do that, or take my course, right? You have a choice. Can the MACD be used to identify the strength of a single wave? I don't know. I've never tested that. I don't think MACD can show you the strength, but that will have to depend on you. With the video, will this video be on YouTube? Yes. And is there a first time seeing your webinar? What is the best way to learn wave analysis in any specific book? Use the Elliott wave principles, but you will learn the theory there. To learn to practice how to read it and to understand the structure more and to be able to identify them in the chart, that is what I do. All my traders still read that book because we are taking, that's like our basis for trading. That's basis for wave theory. I think Elliot did some really great work on wave analysis. How you can contact me, I think I just give my Skype. I hope that answered your question. Right? Somebody asked that question. Walid asked that question. I hope you got it. By the way, can somebody give him my Skype? I'll put it up back again for you at the end. When the chart is in control, it's possible to detect an entry. You can do that, but you shouldn't try doing that unless you're really, really good with wave theory. Just after, oh, that's the question from Hugo, just after the move. You'll rather wait for a breakout to confirm that a consolidation is over, for at least if you're not very good at wave theory. They'll use candlestick patterns. We use chart patterns, whether it's candlestick, whether it's line chart, whether it's like I just showed. I think I just showed that example, right? It's not necessarily candlestick patterns. It's wave structure. It's wave patterns, right? So I don't care whether it's candlestick, whether it's line chart, whether it's anything. That's what we do. Am I a classic elliptician? No, I'm a wave trader. I trade the waves. Elliott wave theory is part of what I do. But what I have developed on my own is I've developed a way of identifying and isolating what is a single wave, which means we can tell you whether any piece of move has 5 waves, 3 waves, or how many waves within it, because we know what is a wave. Right? That is, at least we are using something that does that, and it's working perfect so far. As you can see from my charts, it's working pretty great, right? It gives us really great analysis. Oh, that was 150,000 Lucas. Wow. Trading pin bars. You guys may remember that's $150,000 Lucas. Oh my goodness. That's crazy stuff, man. That's a lot of money to lose trading pin bars. You could give me 50,000 of that. I'll tell you, I would have told you this way before not to do it. It's hard. I know that's really tough. That's a tough one. How come you? That's a lot of money, man. No, I don't have WhatsApp. You can just download Skype. It's take you 3 minutes to do, right? Do this structure apply? Or you can go on TradingView and PM me on TradingView if you want. Somebody's asking about how to contact me. Do these structures apply to stock market? Every market. You can actually look at wave theory. Let me just show you. Let's do gold just for that sake, because everybody's asking for gold, right? So let's look at gold. I like to do silver because silver is my thing. So I was looking at TradingView and everybody was freaking out about where gold is going to go. And some people have gold to come back like this, and some people have gold to do this. Guys, I actually said, look at this. I actually posted a chart. No need to freak out. It's just making a consolidation to go back up. Right? I think I posted that chart. No need to freak out. This is the start of an uptrend. We're likely starting an uptrend. We're going to pull back and then we're going to go. Anything new? Nothing new under the sun, right? It pulled back and then it went. Pretty simple, right? It pulled back from there to the downside, and then it went up. And if you understand why we said that, I actually posted here. We finished the corrective structure here. We got an impulse, we got a corrective structure. What's next? You make another impulse. It's simple. I don't know why everybody's freaking out. I see people post about 10 charts about gold with long explanation. What is happening in the world? What's happening with Brexit, and what's going to happen in the US, and what's going to happen in China, and what's going to happen. You don't need to know all those nonsense. And here's the truth. These guys don't have a clue what they're talking about. I'm not kidding. I'm sitting behind my computer here the whole day working. I have no time to go read all those nonsense all over. And who says that if you read something on some site that is actually the fact? They don't know. People are pulling things out of all the different places and posted them all on the internet. And somebody go and read it on the internet, and then they're posting it back as if it's the fact, as if this is why gold is doing this. And they have long explanation. They're going to tell you all the fancy things they know, what the central bank is going to do, and what this person and what that is doing. And you know, these guys are sitting behind their computer and they have no clue what they're doing. You know, they just pull these things from deep out of somewhere and post it there as if they know why it's going to happen, right? We know what's going to happen. We've studied this. We got the inside information. The CIA just told us what they're going to do, so we know what's going to happen in the world, and we know why gold will go up or go down. we have the inside secret. You don't know. It's pure nonsense. You don't, and you will never know. It's simple. Like I said, if you watch the chart, you can tell with a very high accuracy what the market is going to do based on the structure it's already making. Right? You know why people could forecast earthquakes? They don't have secrets. They just study the chart. They map the chart and then they plot it and then they look for patterns in the chart. And if they see a certain pattern, they're anticipating that with this pattern in the chart, we're going to get an earthquake very soon. That's how they do it. You know how doctors tell what's happening with your heart? They don't cut you open and look at your heart and say, oh, I think he has a problem with his valve. They don't do that. They do a cardiogram. And then they study the chart. They study the patterns in it. And by the way it's behaving its pattern, they can tell you that you have problem with this or with that. Or your heart is pretty great, don't worry. The pattern is smooth. It's doing what it should do. You study patterns. There are patterns in everything. And if you study the patterns, you can tell with very high accuracy. Is there a problem or not? Is something about to happen or not? It's that simple. It's not magic. All you have to do is learn to read the patterns. And when you read the patterns, and like I could have been wrong in reading the patterns sometimes. It doesn't mean that the pattern doesn't work. It means I misread it. And that happens. The doctor may misread the pattern and think you have a problem with your valve, and the problem is actually with an artery or something else, right? That is possible. That's human, right? The guy who's forecasting, looking at the seismograph and reading it and thinking that, oh, we have an earthquake coming up and it's going to be this magnitude and it's going to be there, may be wrong, right? Sometimes he may get it wrong. He may get the exact location wrong. He may get the exact strength wrong. He may get a few things wrong. But that's his mistake. It's not because it's not there. It's because he tried to read it with the information that he has, and he probably didn't have all the information. And that happens. We looked at the pattern very early, and very early we try to forecast thinking, okay, this is how this pattern is likely going to behave. We think it's going to make this pattern, and then we wait and we saw, oh no, it's not actually making that pattern. It's making a much huge pattern, a much bigger pattern. A very good example is the Aussie New Zealand. Let me show you this. You know, since when we were focusing that upside, like I said, 3 attempts that failed. Well, because we didn't know that it's going to make such a huge correction. But now it doesn't have much more to make, right? We were focusing the upside from this point here. We were saying, okay, this was all the consolidation and this thing is going to go, right? We were saying, okay, that's it. This consolidation is over. This thing is going to go, right? And then it started to come down and we were like, okay, what is happening here? And now I'm looking at the chart and I'm thinking, okay, this looks like a darn big consolidation, a complete 3-wave pattern. So this thing should go. Well, guess what? It could actually do this and come back here and then go. So I may be wrong in thinking it's going to go now, but that's because I'm basing my analysis on what I have right now, right? So the magic may work or it may not work, but it will go up. And what I'm telling you is that this wave to the upside would likely happen. At least this wave here, when we get a breakout of here, this wave to the upside is likely going to happen until it hits the top. And then we will see whether it comes back or whether it goes. Right? The euro yen, a lot of you may remember, right? We're looking at that structure and we say this structure should turn, right? 3 trades that I gave up on this thing, that this structure here should turn to the upside. We're looking at this structure and we're saying, guys, this structure, once we see structure like that, they go up, they go up, they go up. What happened? It fell off the bottom there. Well, guess what? I will repeat what I said. This structure will go up. I will repeat that. That structure will go up. The problem is now it's not going to go up so fast as we think. It may change slightly, but the variation is only variation within this C wave. It's not a variation within the 1, 2, 3 wave structure. The third wave is much longer than we thought. This C wave is getting much, much, much bigger than we thought it was. So now we're looking at this and we said, okay, there may be more downside when you come back, maybe more downside, but eventually we're going to see a pattern here that will tell us it's going to go up. And it will go up, right? We were just trying to make the analysis based on what I had here. And by the way, those were not bad analysis because we bought here. If you remember, see this buy setup? If you look at it, you click here, you'll get a buy setup here. Buy setup, long-term buy setup. We bought there. Now you see that big move up? We caught that move, right? Well, guess what? I gave up. You see that move there that went there? We caught that move that went up. And I gave up 100 and something pips on that move because I moved my stop to break even and I leave it. And I was willing to give it up because I thought it was going to break out. So after that, we went and we went for another one. We got this one that went up. I gave up 84 pips on that one because I thought it was going to go. Now it's going to break out and go. It didn't, right? We traded this one. Remember, this one was getting everybody crazy. We traded that to the upside. Well, this one I took profit. By then I got a little smarter, so I took profit off. I actually took good profit off of this one because I moved my stop much higher and said, okay, if you go, you go. If you don't go, come back, take me out. Right? So we took some profit from that. At that point, we were looking for this to go, but then we started to watch. This, I think, was a break-even trade, and then we watched it after here. We just stopped trading because we weren't sure what they're doing in there, and then they came down. This one came, we said, okay, let's see if they break out here, we will buy, and then they dropped to the downside. Okay, no big deal. Let's relook at the structure. What is it telling us in the daily? It's telling us it's going to go up. The daily structure will still go up. That has not changed. What has changed is the last leg within this daily structure. So now we can relook at this last leg and tell, what is the structure doing right now? What is the structure telling us right now? Right? And look at the 1 hour and you'll see what it's telling. I think by now all of you figure out what the trade we are looking for. And then possible one more down as a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. And at this point, maybe, just maybe, they will go up. Or maybe they will just consolidate and more down. We'll be ready for both sides. Now we're ready for both options. But on the long term, that thing has a big move to the upside. No questions about that. Right? Okay, guys, I think I've kept you way beyond the time I promised to keep you. And some people have even got tired of it and left the webinar. We had about 250. We got 212 of you. Thank you very much for your patience to stay on so long. There are more questions, but I don't think, how can I get a notification of your next webinar? It will be posted in the chart. Thank you, Victor. I think Victor helped you with that one. And then please, can you open the Euro Hong Kong dollar? No, we can't do that now. What is your YouTube link? Check in the chart, you will get it. I'll post everything in the charts that I post. Simple. ABC is complex if it's not break out of the channel. Oh yeah, I'm not telling you, by the way, I'm not saying that studying those structures are simple. Happens, right? That is why we have a training session to train you, because if it was that easy, just ABC, all of you would be perfect wave traders, right? We know there are a lot of people who even call themselves wave traders, right? That doesn't mean you're a wave trader, but you can call yourself, you can write your name as a wave trader, right? That doesn't mean you become a wave trader. Some people are even pro wave traders, right? They're more than wave traders. They're professional wave traders. Well, I don't know anything about that. I have no clue what they mean by that, right? So it's not that simple. It is complex, but it's learnable. You can learn it. It's teachable. I can teach you, right? And that is what we do. We train you to learn. A lot of thank you. Thank you for coming as well. Thank all of you for being here. Have a wonderful time. See you later, probably next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.